There is a special kind of silence that happens in a house that is no longer a home. It's not peaceful. It's heavy. It sits in the corners of empty rooms and echoes in the spaces where laughter used to live. I know that silence now. I am sitting in the middle of it, in the home I built for 50 years, and I am a guest. And it all started, not with a shout, but with a smile. My daughter-in-law, Clara, smiled at me over the breakfast table that morning. It was the same, polite smile she'd worn for years. But that day, I saw it for what it was. A perfectly drawn curtain. A closed door. In that moment, with the sun catching the steam from my tea, I realized the woman I had welcomed as a daughter had become a complete and utter stranger to me. And the worst part? I hadn't seen it happen until it was far, far too late. I remember the exact sound. The soft clink of her spoon against her ceramic bowl. The rustle of the newspaper as my son, David, buried himself in the sports section. The cheerful chatter of my grandson, Leo, telling us about his upcoming science project. And then Clara's voice, smooth as the honey she was drizzling on her toast. "Helen," she said. I looked up. She was smiling. "We need to talk about the upstairs room." "Your room." "Room. Your room." That's how she said it. Your room. Not the guest room, though I'd been living in it for 8 months. Not Mom's room. Your room. It was a small word, a tiny shift. But it landed in my heart like a stone. David lowered his paper just an inch, his eyes flicking between us. Leo kept eating, oblivious. "Of course," I said, my own voice sounding terribly small. "What about it?" Her smile never wavered. "It was a masterpiece. We're thinking of repurposing it. Leo needs a proper study space as he gets into higher grades. And, well, we feel it's time we optimized the space for the core family's evolving needs." The core family. The words hung in the air. The steam from my tea seemed to freeze. David cleared his throat, a nervous, gravelly sound, and raised the newspaper again, a wall of ink and paper. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. A strange calm settled over me. I just looked at her smile, this beautiful, cold, strategic smile on the face of the woman who had once cried in my kitchen because she missed her own mother. I saw the stranger, plain as day. And I smiled back. "I understand," I heard myself say. "We'll talk later." That was the moment. The day the map of my family was redrawn, and I found myself on the outside, looking in at a place I thought was mine. To understand the depth of the fall, you have to know how high the climb was. My story with Clara didn't begin with silence. It began with music. David brought her home for the first time 10 years ago. He was so nervous, my big, strong boy, fidgeting with his keys. "Be nice, Mom. She's it." And when she walked in, I understood. She had a shy smile then, a real one that reached her eyes. She brought me flowers from the farmer's market. Not a flashy bouquet, but simple, sweet-smelling stock and lavender. We cooked together that first night. She stood in my kitchen, a place that was my kingdom, and asked, "Will you teach me how to make David's favorite stew? He talks about it all the time." "Not your stew. David's favorite stew." She saw the love in the recipe, not just the ingredients. When they got engaged, I wasn't just happy for my son. My heart felt full for me. I had lost my own husband, Michael, 5 years before. David was my anchor. And in Clara, I saw a new connection, a new thread to hold on to in the tapestry of life. I gained a daughter. I threw myself into the wedding. We spent hours looking at fabric samples, her head tilted close to mine. She'd ask for my opinion, truly listen. "You have such an eye, Helen," she'd say. When she asked if she could wear the pearl bracelet Michael had given me for our 25th anniversary, as her something old, I wept. It felt like a blessing, a passing of the torch. Then came Leo. Oh, my Leo. When he was born, I was the first person they led into the hospital room after the 2 of them. Clara, exhausted and radiant, placed him in my arms. "Meet your grandma," she whispered. The trust in that moment was absolute. Sacred. I sold my house 2 years later. It was too big, too full of echoes of Michael. The plan, the beautiful plan we all agreed on, was for me to buy a lovely, manageable condo near them. But the market crashed. My sale went through, but my new build was delayed. Indefinitely. David didn't hesitate. "Mom, you'll stay with us." "Of course. It's what family does." Clara had hugged me. "It'll be fun," she said. "Leo will love having you right there." And for a while, it was. They say you can't hear a glacier move. But you can see its effects. The landscape changes, slowly, irrevocably. That's how it was in that house. The shifts were so small, I told myself I was imagining them. A sensitive, silly old woman. It started with the calendar. Clara put a big, digital family calendar on the fridge. Every appointment, every playdate, every work trip was on it. My doctor's appointments, which I'd mention casually, never appeared. I was a pencil entry in a world of permanent ink. Then it was the kitchen. My kitchen, once my domain, where I'd taught her to bake. New rules appeared. "We're trying to be clutter-free, Helen." My favorite ceramic canister, the one shaped like an apple, was put in a high cupboard. It doesn't quite match the new aesthetic. The aesthetic. Our shared meals became less frequent. Clara and David would have date-night meals in their living room. Leo and I would eat at the kitchen island. It wasn't said, but the message was clear: the core family dined together. Grandma was adjacent. The dialogue was always wrapped in kindness. In concern. "Helen, you look tired. You shouldn't worry about washing the dishes." "Helen, we've hired a cleaning service. No need for you to strain yourself." "Helen, we've got it handled." Each sentence felt like a brick, gently but firmly placed between her life and mine. I was being pensioned off from my own family. One afternoon stays with me. Leo, then 7, had scraped his knee. He came running in, tears in his eyes, straight past his mother who was on a work call, and into my arms. "Grandma, fix it." I cleaned it, kissed it, put on a band-aid with dinosaurs on it. I felt useful. Needed. Clara finished her call and came over. She smiled that polite smile. "Thanks, Helen." She took Leo's hand. "But sweetie, remember what Mommy said? We use the antiseptic spray first, not the cream. And we tell Mommy first when we're hurt, okay?" She led him to the bathroom to redo the bandage. My comfort was incorrect. My instinct was obsolete. I stood there in the hallway, holding the tube of antibiotic cream, feeling like I'd been corrected for breathing wrong. David, my David. He saw it. I know he did. But he existed in a permanent state of peaceful mediation. If I ever gently brought something up, he'd hug me. "Oh, Mom. Clara's just stressed with work." "She loves you. Don't read into things." He wanted harmony. And the easiest path to harmony was for me to be quieter. Smaller. The stranger in my house wasn't cruel. She was efficient. She was building a perfect, streamlined life. And I was an artifact from an older model that didn't fit the new design. The turning point wasn't a dramatic fight. It was a box. A simple, brown cardboard box. Clara had been decluttering for weeks. It was a constant theme. One evening, I came downstairs to find her in the living room, going through old photo albums. Our photo albums. The ones I had brought from my old house. "Just digitizing everything," she said cheerfully. "Freeing up shelf space." I sat beside her, a knot in my stomach. She flipped through pages of David as a boy, of me and Michael, of holidays. She'd point. "We'll scan this one. This is blurry, probably recycle." It was a curation. A editing of our history. Then she pulled out a large manila envelope from the bottom of the pile. It was stuffed with letters. Michael's letters. He traveled for work when David was young, and he wrote to me every single week. Silly, beautiful, heartfelt letters. I hadn't looked at them in years. The pain was too fresh, then too precious to disturb. Clara opened the envelope. She didn't ask. She just slid the letters out. They were tied with a faded blue ribbon. "What are these?" she asked, already beginning to untie the knot. Those are from Michael," I said, my voice tight. "Oh." She smiled. "How sweet. We should definitely scan these. Think of the storage space this paper is taking up." She pulled one out, began to carefully unfold the fragile paper. Something in me broke. Not loudly, but deeply. "Clara," I said. My voice was different. It wasn't the gentle, accommodating Helen. It was a voice I hadn't heard in years. It was a mother's voice. A wife's voice. "Please put those down." She paused, looking at me, startled. The polite smile was gone, replaced by a look of mild annoyance. "I'm just being careful, Helen. We're preserving them." "You are not preserving them," I said, standing up. My hands were trembling. "You are handling them. They are not yours to preserve. They are mine. Put them back." The air left the room. David walked in then, holding a coffee mug. "Everything okay?" Clara's face transformed. Her eyes welled up with instant, perfect tears. She carefully placed the letter back in the envelope, her movements now slow and wounded. "I'm sorry," she said to me, but she looked at David. "I was just trying to help. I thought we were a family. Sharing everything. I guess I was wrong." She stood up and walked out, the picture of graceful hurt. David looked at me, confused, a little angry. "Mom, what was that?" "She's just trying to help us get organized." "David, those are your father's love letters to me," I whispered, the fight gone, replaced by a crushing weariness. "They are not for her to scan and declutter. They are my soul." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "She doesn't see it that way. She sees old paper. Just talk to her, Mom. Apologize. Keep the peace. Keep the peace." My son asked me to apologize for protecting the last sacred words of his father. To keep peace with the stranger who saw them as clutter. I didn't apologize. I took the box, the albums, the envelope, and I carried them back to my room. I held Michael's letters to my chest and cried the tears I hadn't cried when I moved in. I cried for the past, and I cried for the present. I knew, then. This was no longer my home. I was a tenant in a museum of someone else's ideal life, and my memories were considered messy exhibits. The breakfast conversation a week later was just a formality. The decision had been made in the living room over the box of letters. "We found a wonderful place," Clara said, her smile back in place. She slid a brochure for Silver Springs Assisted Living across the table. The photos showed smiling silver-haired people playing bingo. "It has activities, friends your own age, medical staff on site. It's what's best, Helen. For your independence. For our family's dynamic." David wouldn't meet my eyes. "It looks really nice, Mom," he mumbled. I looked at the brochure. I looked at my son's downcast face. I looked at the stranger's triumphant, gentle smile. And I felt a surge of something that wasn't sadness. It was clarity. "No," I said, quietly. Clara's smile flickered. "Pardon?" I said no, I repeated, my voice calm. "I am not going to an assisted living facility. I am 72. I am in good health. I am not a problem to be solved, Clara. I am a person." "Mom, we're not saying," David began. "I know what you're saying," I said, looking only at him. "You are saying it's time for me to go. And you're right. It is. but I will decide where. The next few days were a quiet, painful flurry. I called my old realtor. I called my lawyer. I had money from the house sale, still sitting, waiting. I found a small, bright apartment in a friendly complex downtown, near a library and a park. It wasn't about being close to them anymore. It was about being close to myself. Packing was the hardest part. Leo helped, his little face serious. "Will I still see you, Grandma?" "More than ever, my love," I promised, my heart cracking. "This will be your special place to visit." The day I left, David was shattered. He cried as he loaded the last box into my car. "I'm so sorry, Mom. I never meant for. I just wanted everyone to be happy." I held his face. "I know, my boy. I know. But sometimes, trying to make everyone happy makes everyone lonely." I saw the man, but I still saw my little boy, trapped in the middle. My anger had faded, leaving only a deep, aching sorrow for him. Clara stood on the porch. She gave me a stiff, brief hug. "The best of luck, Helen." The stranger wished me well. There was nothing more to say. I got in my car. I didn't look back at the house. I drove towards my new, quiet life. The silence in my apartment is different. It's mine. It's not heavy with exclusion. It's light. It's full of possibility. Sometimes it's lonely, yes. But it's an honest loneliness. Not the cruel loneliness of being lonely in a crowd of family. Leo visits every other weekend. We bake. We go to the park. Our time is ours, uninterrupted, and he tells me things now, secrets he might not say in the core family home. It is a precious, stolen treasure. David comes for coffee. It's awkward at first. But slowly, without the tense atmosphere of that house, we are finding our way back to each other. We talk about Michael. We talk about his childhood. We do not talk about Clara. It is a boundary I must set to have my son back. The lesson, it's not a simple one. It's not all daughters-in-law are cruel. It's more complicated. Love can't be forced into a shape that doesn't fit. Sometimes, the family you chooses a different path. And clinging not only breaks your hands. I learned that the deepest betrayals aren't always loud. They are quiet revolutions in a home. They are polite smiles over breakfast. They are boxes of memories labeled clutter. But I also learned this: there is a strength in quietness too. The strength to say no. The strength to walk away from a table where you are no longer considered family. The strength to build a new table, in a quiet room of your own, and leave a seat open for those who still remember how to find you. The day my daughter-in-law became a stranger was the saddest day of my later life. But it was also the day I stopped being a stranger to myself. I am Helen. Not just David's mom, or Leo's grandma, or Clara's mother-in-law. I am the keeper of Michael's letters. I am the woman in the sunlit apartment, drinking tea, listening to my own silence. And it is enough. It is, finally, my own.